In this video, I will be making some daisy cushions using my IOD sunflower stamps and assorted fabrics I have on hand. I'm starting here with some brown ink on my brayer and stamping my sunflowers on cotton. I then grab the smallest pair of scissors I own and rough cut the flowers out. With all my flowers cut out, I moved on to heat setting them with my iron. And here is a small hoard of fabric I thought might work with my daisies and the space I plan on having them in. I'm taking advantage of all the textures and patterns in my fabrics to make the cushions more interesting. Now I'm selecting some fabric I think will go well for the centers and the backgrounds for my flowers. I've upgraded my scissors here and I'm using a quilting ruler to cut out my pieces. I cut them out in random sizes and not standard cushion sizes. I'm stamping the centers of the flowers on fabric so that I can perfectly cut them out to fit the centers of my cotton daisies. I'm arranging my pieces and pinning them in place. At this point, I was given a red pepper snack by Buzz Lightyear and his gang. Then I made my way over to my sewing machine to sew down all the pieces. I used free motion techniques here to sew down all my pieces, which adds even more texture to the piece. This technique allows you to control the fabric instead of the machine just pulling the fabric straight through, so you can pull in any direction freely to paint with your thread. I use sharp up and down movements and circles to kind of emulate the shapes you might find inside a flower. I also use the same technique to trace along all the edges of the petals. Now that everything is sewn down, I fussy cut the free edge fabric off around the petals to clean it all up. To make the back of the cushions, I cut two pieces, one 3 inches longer than the other to overlap each other in the back. I hemmed the inside centers of both pieces of fabric by sewing a straight line down, folding, finger pressing, sewing, folding, sewing down again to give a nice clean stiff edge. Now I'm just finding the centers of each side and spacing out some spots to add closures. In this project I will be using cotton lace and buttons for my closures. I place my lace strips face in, sewed them down, then flip them over for a nice clean, no fray finish. Okay, we're ready to sew all the cushions together. So assemble the good sides facing up on the top. Place the smaller looped back piece down first, with the larger piece on top overlapping it. Pin in place. And then I sewed around the perimeter of my cushions. I cut my corners off. Some people just cut them like straight off, but I like to cut them in like a little crescent shape to allow more space for you to turn your corners out. Turn my cushion right side out. Button time! Here I've filled my cushions and pulled the loops out to see where the buttons should be sewn, center starting first. At this point, I threw them in the washer. I like how the cotton frays a little around the outside of the petals. Okay, so I didn't have any polyester fill or polyfill for these pillows, but I, having 5 children, have a lot of little blankets that we don't quite use like we used to. And rather than putting them away as keepsakes, I am going to use them to fill my pillows. And I doubly like this because they will not be taking up space stored away, and I won't have to go and buy some nasty polyfill. I don't like it. It clumps all up and gets all clumpy and ugh. So I'm just going to be folding these the size of my pillows, which have already accumulated dog hair, and then just folding them and then putting them on in here. There's one. I guess another added benefit is if I don't just need to wash the outside of the cushions, I could wash the little blankets on the inside and they will dry up super fast, rather than how a pillow would take forever to dry because it's all clumped and bunched together. Sometimes you want one blanket stuffed in there, and sometimes you might want 2. I like doing the buttons instead of a zipper too because it's less plastic and it's just cuter. And for like the bigger pillows, if you find they're kind of flat, if you fold a pillow the size of the cushion and then fold one smaller in the middle, you can have a more voluminous pillow if you find they look kind of flat. There's our little collection. If you'd like to see more sewing or more cushion projects, let me know in the comments.